So nothing pissed me off more than somebody playing the victim when they were the one that caused the problem in the first place. And needless to say, this is going to be about Ooblets. For context, Ooblets is a Harvest Moon meets Pokemon-style life simulator, developed by a husband and wife duo team. Wholesome little story, isn't it? For a while, it was funded through Patreon, remaining completely independent. And in all fairness, the game actually does look kinda cute. Art style is soft and seems perfect for somebody that doesn't like hyper-violence or anime titties. So weirdos, basically. But then they decided to stomp on their cock with steel-toe boots, because Ooblets, though at first they did promise a Steam release for PC, decided to announce an Epic exclusivity deal out of the blue with very little warning.
It's time to stop! It's time to stop, okay? No more!
Instead of announcing this in a cool-headed, polite, professional manner, where they may have apologized for any inconvenience it may have caused or try to remedy situations with customers that do not want to use Epic or can't use Epic for whatever reason. Instead, they downright attacked the audience right out of the gate and insinuated anybody that shit talks them is just an entitled gamer man-baby. So 2013 tactics almost. Then they turn around and whine about threats and harassment when the heat is lit under their ass. For the absolute full context of the situation, I recommend watching Young Ye's videos on the topic. At the time of this video there are 2, but he did promise a third where he addresses the full article written by the husband, who responded to the situation. Though knowing him, it probably isn't going to actually yield much information, instead be him whining about all the threats he's getting. Yeah, I have zero respect for these cunts. So, if you're looking for the ultra-neutral and safe take on the matter, I'm sorry, but that's not this. Because A, I don't have to worry about monetization, so I can say whatever the fuck I want. And B, why the fuck would I ever defend Ooblets here? There is no defending Ooblets' behavior, okay? The most you can do is say that people went too far with the online mob against them, but even then that's part and parcel of stoking an internet mob in the first place. You just don't fucking do it. Which they apparently wanted to do at every single goddamn opportunity. In fact, I do have a theory on why these pricks decided to announce their exclusivity the way they did. Because the message they put out for, the deal and letting everyone and their backers know screamed that they wanted backlash. And they did everything they could to attack the fans that had given them money for years. Especially with how the CEO of Epic himself commented on the scenario, saying that he thought the Ooblets devs were awesome. Basically confirming that Epic doesn't give a shit about the people that actually buy things on their launcher. Is that hyperbolic? No, not at all. Here's the plain and blunt truth about Epic Games Store. There is no excuse for it. None. None for how hard it botched things by not having a shopping cart feature, leading to people's credit cards getting flagged because they tried to buy a lot of things at once when there was a sale, and that's not even mentioning the other lack of features that even platforms like fucking Uplay and Origin have. Epic fanboys try to say it's not a big deal that Steam had problems when it first launched and had 15 years to fix things. This is horse shit on so many levels. 1, Steam was the first of its kind when it launched in the early 2000s. It's 2019 and so many other companies have tried what Epic did and did it better. As stated, even Uplay and Origin have more. 2, Valve was pretty small when it first launched Steam. Yes, Counter-Strike, Half-Life, and Half-Life 2 were huge releases, not even talking about all the mods that came after them when they opened up the source for all these games. But at the time, that was only really 3 games. Valve was still pretty fledgling when it came to Steam, and in the beginning with Steam, so flaws could be forgiven. Epic is a multi-billion-dollar titan. It owns Fortnite, which is brainwashing children across the globe. It makes ungodly amounts of royalties from having people license the Unreal Engine for use in their games. Epic isn't this tiny bootleg studio operating out of Ukraine. Once again, there is no excuse for how shitty and sleazy Epic is. But none of this matters when you really zero in on Ooblets. Other games have been swept up by Epic and absolutely botched the message. Phoenix Point essentially said they could refund all of their Kickstarter backers' money and still have a profit, meaning they essentially used them as a fucking loan and didn't really give a shit about their backers after the case. And that's not even talking about Shenmue 3, which didn't even plan on giving pre-order bonuses to Kickstarter backers, the people that pre-ordered so early they helped make the goddamn game. And with 2 big losses like that, along with supposed ties to Tencent and the alleged creepy-ass software that scans your computer data and sends it to some unknown party that they totes assure won't end with a massive security breach, yeah, no, you can see why people don't like this shit. And, there is that whole thing of there's a lack of regional pricing, which, yeah, that's kind of a problem because that literally means people have to pay more for games depending on where they live. So honestly, just from a pragmatic perspective, Steam is just the way better option right now. Or GOG, the thing a normal human uses. There are very legitimate reasons why people don't want to use Epic, especially when Epic seems completely unwilling to address these problems like adults, and a weird amount of shills come out of the woodwork to attack people that bring these problems up and call Steam fans entitled babies. That insult in particular drives me nuts. It drives me fucking insane. People are entitled for not wanting to get fucked in the ass with their money. It's seriously a bad thing to tell a company to fuck off if they do something that pisses you off. But this culture of absolute contempt for customers is really a terrible thing. We see this everywhere. Games, movies, comics, TV. It seems like being a fan of something now is like being a Middle Eastern housewife. Constantly get kicked down and insulted, but God forbid you ever stand up for yourself. No, then you're the bad guy. Because these poor developers are doing their best and you're just toxic. Fuck off, you money-loving cunt. You just want to have your cake and eat it too. This is the exact same situation that happened last year with Jessica Price, which honestly was almost a trial run for this one. So the Jessica Price scenario was kind of a crazy story. She was a writer for Guild Wars 2 and apparently helped out with some of the key points in the game, and people actually liked her work quite a bit. Well, a pretty known Guild Wars 2 influencer talked to her on Twitter. It really wasn't much, just him saying he didn't care much for some of the new story shit in the game. The most blasé, milquetoast criticism he could give. Jessica then accused him of harassment and smeared him as a sexist. Games media rushed to defend her because God forbid someone give an opinion on Twitter. But she did get fired because she had Guild Wars branding all over her account and it made Guild Wars look like a bunch of sleazy assholes that didn't give a shit about their customers. No, they actually had the right idea. They reprimanded her, told her that was unacceptable, and fired her because she made them look bad. Because here's something that companies and people need to realize, because I always hear people say, oh, you shouldn't even talk about the scenario because it's free marketing, it's free marketing, it's free marketing. Any publicity is good publicity doesn't fucking work when you're trying to sell a product. It plain and simple doesn't. Bad PR is a fucking nightmare for any kind of product. If you're a celebrity, that's one thing. Then yeah, do whatever the fuck you want because someone's gonna talk about you. Then nature is to be known. With a product, yeah, no, the rules are completely different. Imagine if Coke had a rumor swirling about that if you drank it, it rotted your cock off. It doesn't matter how many people know about the rumor, no one's gonna buy Coke because they're afraid it's gonna rot their cock off. So if the Ooblets team is hoping that all the venom and attack marketing is gonna sell their game, please let me direct you to the website using the Sailor of the Salty Seas sale, where it's always 100% off, 24/7. And I have to promote piracy here, people. There is no way you should support this. They directly jump to attacking the audience that kept them afloat since day one. How many Patreon backers, people sending them money for fucking years, are entitled babies because they don't want to support Epic? Why the fuck should they be rewarded for this idiotic shut up and give me your fucking money style of marketing? Because Kickstarter and Patreon are not zero interest loans. The idea is that you use these services in exchange for a product. You want people to give you money because you cannot find investors otherwise. Oh, by the way, you fucking cunts want to call your customers entitled? You motherfuckers got a serious cash injection from Epic, big enough for you to keep the lights on, in your own words. More than enough money to get the game out, finished, and released. So why the fuck do you still have the Patreon page up and running? You have more than enough cash to make the game, but still keep that monthly tugboat chugging? That's fucking entitled. You absolute goddamn parasites, greedy fucking sleazebags that want everyone to just shut up and open their wallets. You goddamn fucking vampires. Spoiled little children that want to cry now that daddy's home with a fucking belt. So honestly, pirate the fuck out of this game. Don't let these people have a cent. Don't buy the stupid sob stories about how the wife is crying to sleep every night. These motherfuckers don't give a shit about angry messages on the internet. It's about money and always will be. And all this doing is making it harder on other people trying to put out something independently. Why should people trust Kickstarter, Patreon, or Indiegogo now, after all this nonsense? After all the projects that became colossal failures or never released because they were scams to siphon money from fools. And right now, this is no exception by any means. The fact they haven't lost a shitload of backers from this is honestly astounding, but that's bound to change soon. This rampant greed and disregard for the people that got you the deal in the first place is going to come back and bite you in the ballsack, and I'll be there, laughing like a maniac as it happens. Do I condone falsifying shit and trying to smear them? No, but I also highly doubt anybody did, at least with the narrative we're given at the moment. Things have definitely been exaggerated and made up, but the question is who exactly did it? We've seen this before, where devs lie about being harassed or attacked to get heat off them when they fuck up. And the fact they did shoot straight for the victim card is a red flag. I'm highly confident this is another example of, oh, how dare these terrible gamers lie about me and smear me, meanwhile they're the one with Photoshop open. But this is just kind of inevitable with the way things are going. There's going to be a critical mass and collapse. So all in all, Ooblets is a game that is gimped. It doesn't matter how good or fun it is, that behavior of the development team should be more than enough to discourage anyone from purchasing the game. Do not reward this childish, retarded marketing strategy, because if you do, and other companies catch wind that it's okay to outright ignore fans now, things are going to go from worse to utter shit show. So remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and remember to back the official TheAlmightyLoli's campaign on Kickstarter, where you give me money and I mail you a dead bird. See you next time.